The Isaiah experience has been a big part of Boone TV, but it would not have been a success without people like you. Isaiah is ready to pull off this last season of the Isaiah experience with reviews on some of the greatest pieces of entertainment history. The last season will go out with a bang near the end. So let's start with one of the greatest comedy duos of all time. Welcome to the Isaiah experience. I'm in a different location. For now. Don't worry, I'll be back on the green screen. Just gotta get it fixed. Really, you should see it. No, don't. You'll have heart. You'll panic. Anyway, this will be my final season for the Isaiah experience. I know it's gonna be sad, but I'm gonna do my best to make great reviews. And speaking of greatness, I'm gonna be shooting this episode in black and white because we're going to take a look at one of the greatest comedy duos of all time. Hey, that's what I said. You hear that too, right? Well, anyway, I'll be taking a look at Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy are considered to be one of the greatest comedy duos of their time, and forever, basically. They've inspired so many comedians with their physical comedy and their jokes. Really, they're a sight to behold. I'm actually going to take a look at most of their career. Not the whole thing, that would take up like 3 videos, but I'll go over basically the more important stuff. So, let's start at the beginning. Stan and Oliver, which are Laurel and Hardy's first names, they weren't the comedy duo we all know in their first production together. You see, Stan Laurel, he was trying to be a solo comedy act because of his mentor, Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, that Charlie Chaplin. It still amazes me to this day. But anyway, Stan was casted in the short The Lucky Dog, alongside Oliver Hardy. And even though that this was not their first movie as a comedy duo, it did spark a friendship between the two. Because apparently getting robbed by someone you don't know instantly makes a friendship in the 1920s. I know it's a movie, but come on! Anyway, they made a bunch of silent short films that would play before the actual movie back then. And then in the 1930s, there was the sound era. Now, for most actors like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, this was a difficult time because it was new. The concept of films talking was very new. Sure, you may take it for granted today, but just know, we could have watched Avengers Endgame in black and white and with no sound. Anyway, unlike Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy were able to use the sound feature of sound films to amplify their comedy. Stan Laurel was able to write some amazing jokes that him and Oliver were able to tell on camera. Now, there's a lot of jokes, and I do have to recommend you go watch them yourself. But yeah, they're pretty funny. And they basically were a hit for a long time. From the 1920s all the way up to the 1950s, they are beloved by many. They had their first feature film, Sons of Egypt, and their first Academy Award, The Music Box, in 1934. They also have one of their most iconic movies, Way Out West, featured their iconic dance. I'm not going to do it right now because you can't see my legs, and it's a leg dance, okay? Anyway, they would have some success, but by the 1950s, their movies were going a little bit downhill. Atoll K was their final film before they decided to do a vaudeville show tour, Why was this their final film? Well, it was filmed in another country, there was language barriers they had to go up against, and just a bad production, but some loyal fans of Laurel and Hardy were able to recut this movie, and it's actually pretty good. I recommend it. Anyway, they would have a vaudeville tour until 1954. Why? It was because Oliver Hardy had a terrible heart attack after one performance in 1954 while they were in England. So Laurel and Hardy went back to America, where they wouldn't perform on stage or in movies ever again, but they would still be friends up until well, Oliver's death in 1957. Even though he died before my time, I miss him. He's funny. Anyway, after this, Stan Laurel went into early retirement because he did not want to perform with a replacement, because he wanted to perform with his best friend. That is commitment. But after this, Stan Laurel actually wrote a bunch of scripts for Laurel and Hardy films that would never be made. Stan Laurel would then sign off the rights to him and Oliver, which led to Hanna-Barbera cartoons and a crossover with Scooby-Doo. There was also a 1990 remake, or reboot I should say, that was...
Hand me my toothbrush, Stanley. Stanley, hand me my toothbrush.
I don't think you want your toothbrush.
Stanley, hand me my toothbrush. Now listen, Stanley. We go to this gala tonight, and you're not used to hobnobbing with the socially elite. So you follow my lead, and don't embarrass me.
A fun tribute, but not Oscar-worthy. But then, Stan and Ollie was released in 2019. This movie is a biopic on their final tour of the UK. And I just have to say, Stanley Coogan and John C. Reilly, they really felt like Laurel and Hardy. They even looked the part, which is amazing. They said this wasn't a biopic, this was more of a love letter to Laurel and Hardy. They're just really funny guys. So, even when it's not a comedy actor, a comedy duo, any comedian or comedy actor that does slapstick have gotten inspiration from Laurel and Hardy. They're just amazing. So, what movies do I recommend from Laurel and Hardy? Well, I recommend their shorts, The Music Box and County Hospital, and their movies Way Out West and I guess Atoll of K. And if this video doesn't tell you that Laurel and Hardy are amazing, I recommend the YouTube channel Hats Off Entertainment. He did a full series on Laurel and Hardy, and it's a good watch. I recommend it. I am also excited for this season. Oh, that's right. That's why there's a weird voice. Dude, you were only created for this one episode. Wait, what? Yeah, I don't need a narrator. I usually don't have a narrator. But I have a good resume. Fine, I didn't want to be here anyway. Well, that was weird. Well, these videos aren't going to write themselves. See ya.
Holy,